Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. And the way this year started off, I honestly thought that this was going to be my best year when it came to collecting for video games and retro games specifically, because of the types of games that I was finding and the frequency with which I was finding them. I was finding games for all types of consoles, from the Sega CD, the Sega Saturn, the GameCube, PlayStation 1, PS2, Super Nintendo, NES. I was finding games all over the place, and not just your run-of-the-mill games, like really hard to find rare and exclusive titles, which is a pleasant surprise sometimes when you're game hunting and you find a lot of the common stuff. You always feel good when you happen to run into a game that you have not seen in a long time, or maybe even a game that you've never heard of. And so the way things were going in January, February, March, and even April, and even May, to a degree, it felt like things were really, clicking. And I was finding a lot of things out in the wild. Not only was I finding games out in the wild, but I was working with local resellers. And I was able to make trades happen and pick up some games and do deals that way. And then even beyond that, I was also able to take advantage of GameStop, GameStop online, through their online offers. And then my local GameStops were, I mean, they had some really good stuff too. They're having some really awesome titles. But what I've noticed is that as we got to the midway point in the year, things started to dry up in ways that I personally have never experienced before. And I don't know if the fact that things dried up caused me to slow down my game hunting, or if I just slowed down my game hunting and things felt like they dried up. But I want to say that it's a little bit of both. And the fact that it feels so much harder now, during the second half of this year, to find games, it makes me even less enthused to go out there and waste my time, because I'd hate to think that I went out, spent a few hours out there game hunting to really come up with nothing, really come up with no deals, or everything that I find is way overpriced. And that's kind of where I find myself now in the second half of 2025. And I'm hoping that this isn't an indicator of what game hunting is going to look like from here moving forward. But listening to some of the other guys on YouTube who game hunt way more than I do, I'm starting to think that the field is dry, that things are really drying up out there. One of the game hunters that I watch a good amount, and who I respect as a game hunter because he's always negotiating deals, is Easy Gamers. And even Easy Gamers is telling me that where he's at, it's becoming very difficult to find games out in the wild. Forget finding games and them being expensive. They're just not there. They're just not out there. And I don't know if what this is an indicator of is Phoenix Resale, Chase After the Right Price, and whoever else. Are these guys pretty much soaking up all the inventory on the planet? Like, is that what's going on? Are people just no longer selling anymore? Has everyone sold everything they have? What is going on? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, just from my perspective, kind of breaking down how each avenue that I've used to collect video games has slowly dried up, right? Going from the local resellers near me to GameStop, to mom and pop shops, and even online. And we can start with the online deals. Now, you guys know that for a while this year, I was getting deal after deal through GameStop's website. But what I've noticed now more than ever before is that they don't have as many kind of uncommon games, or like the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 1, things like that. You don't see that as much. Right now, you are seeing good games. Like, you can go on GameStop's website and get Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, or Double Dash, or Twilight Princess, but it's kind of the same games over and over again. And when they do, post some new or different types of games to their website, they are gone instantly. I mean, if you don't snap those things up right away, it is over, because a lot of people are really exploring that avenue. And so it's made shopping on their online store a lot more competitive. And that really was my go-to for the first half of the year. I probably shouldn't have shared that secret. But look, if you were able to get a deal online because you heard it on my channel, then I'm happy for you. I'm happy you were able to, get some sweet deals. But that's one avenue that's really started to slow down. Because personally, I'm just not seeing, any games there. And the value has completely evaporated. There was a time where most of the kind of rarer stuff that you would see on GameStop's website, you would at least be getting it for maybe 25 to 30, sometimes 50% below market value. Now, a lot of these games are really being priced up either at market or above market. So, in a lot of cases, it doesn't even really pay to buy some of these games, especially these retro games on GameStop's website, because they just be cheaper if you get them on eBay and you can guarantee the condition, the completeness, and all of the above. And so the online route has not really been as good for me. Now let's talk about physical stores, both mom and pop shops and GameStops. And since we were already talking about GameStop's website, let's just start there. When it comes to the in-store experience at GameStop, it's still a bit hit or miss. Now, don't get me wrong, physical shopping at GameStop in store is a matter of consistency. If you go there every day, you're bound to find something a few times a week. You're gonna run into some games. You're gonna run into to something that's good, right? But it requires time. It requires you going there a lot. It requires you going there consistently, building relationships, building rapport with the employees, and them working with you. What I've come to learn over time when it comes to GameStop, and this is a big secret that I'm gonna go ahead and just let out the bag right now. Some GameStop employees will hold games for the people that they want to hold them for. And they'll do that because those people are paying them under the table to hold those games. I've seen it happen. It's happened. It happens, right? And I know that there are certain local resellers in my area, and I know that like there are certain Game Stops that I've gone to that I just don't go to anymore because I picked up the fact that they were holding games for other resellers or other people that, buy retro games, because they would have, if I were to go in there and they had the case for a bunch of games on there, like any game that I picked up that I was interested in, they didn't have it. Even if the game was literally like in the glass case, oh, they don't have it, or it doesn't work, or it's broken, or they shouldn't sell it to me because it shouldn't be in the system, or hasn't been scanned in properly, or they literally just started making up reasons not to sell me games. And so once I recognized that that was happening at that store, I just told myself, okay, I'm never coming to this store again because it just doesn't make sense. This is a waste of my time. They don't really want to sell me anything that I want. Um, Anything that I'm interested in, they're not going to sell it to me. And I assumed that they didn't want to sell it to me because they were probably assuming that if I was interested in it, there was some value to it, which is corny. You know what I mean? So I've had that experience more, or I had that experience more recently. And so that's kind of caused me to stop going to all the Game Stops that I used to go to. I still have a few that I visit here and there, but the in-store experience for me just isn't worth it. Like it's just, I don't know, like lately going to GameStop just has not felt worth it to me. It hasn't felt worth the hassle. It hasn't felt worth the time. And so I just don't go. And so I think it's a combination of things getting tight. And because things are tight, now the folks in stores are building relationships with the resellers that are in the area. And those resellers are probably giving them a cut of profits. Maybe they're paying them under the table, a few dollars here and there to hold games for them. And I wouldn't put it past a GameStop employee because I know I've seen it. I've seen it in the past. So I think that there's a lot more of that going on, just because there's a lot more scarcity, and it's starting to hit GameStop retros, especially the GameStop retros that have good stuff. So that's the GameStop route. When it comes to the mom and pop shop route, I feel like mom and pop shops have pivoted, right? A lot of them have pivoted to Pokemon cards because they recognize that the hype around retro gaming is not there as the way it was, and that people are not willing to pay the prices anymore. And so if you go to most mom and pop shops, they're still going to have their glass case with all the really pricey and expensive games, but it's going to be very rare that a regular average Joe is going to walk in and pay cash for those games. Now, someone might come in with a bunch of games, trade those games in, get a bunch of store credit, and then go and get some of the heavier, the heavy hitters or more some of the more expensive games. But the reality that game stores are moving these really rare and expensive games, or even like $30 to $40 games, that the idea that most mom and pop shops are moving those games in mass or in volume, to me, just isn't a reality, at least not near me. Now, are they selling like Grand Theft Auto 3 and like Kingdom Hearts and, like games like that quickly? For sure. Yeah, they're selling those games all day long, but they're not selling like, the higher dollar games. And it's just going to a mom and pop shop as a collector, as someone who's got a different, I don't want to say a different taste level, but who's looking for certain things, it just doesn't make sense anymore. And so the last few times that I've gone to a mom and pop shop, it's been dry, because the things that they're putting in the glass case are not things that would have been in the glass case 4 years ago, 5 years ago. The stuff that you would have been in the glass case, even 2 years ago, would have been, Sega Saturn games, Sega CD games, rare PlayStation 1 games, things like that. Now I'm seeing like, I don't even know. I'm seeing like Kirby's Planet Robot behind the glass. I'm seeing, Prinny behind the glass. I'm seeing, really basic, like Super Mario Sunshine is in the glass case now. And that's just telling me that there's a slowing down, I want to say, of that type of seller. Like people aren't coming in and selling those types of games. And then the buyers aren't really there like that either. Now, I want to transition over to the reseller space, because resellers and those renegades that are in the area that you can sometimes do deals with, even those channels for me have gotten a little bit dry. Like, I talked to a few resellers here and there, and one reseller just told me straight up that things have slowed down. Like, they've slowed down. They're doing a lot of their sales on eBay. And when I asked, who they sell to, they pretty much told me that they sell to other resellers. And so the idea of resellers selling to each other is not like a joke. It's a real thing. Like, resellers are selling the same games back and forth to each other. And it's funny because it's like, who's the end user? After you buy all these games as a reseller, who are you selling them to? I get it. Like, if you post a game on eBay, let it sit there long enough and price it low enough, it will move for sure. But like, folks just aren't moving stuff in volume like that, and things have slowed down a lot, and the interest is waning. It's not gone, but it's waning. So because of that, resellers are pivoting. They're moving to other things. They're getting into Pokemon cards, they're getting into sports cards, they're getting into other electronics, they're getting into clothing, they're selling sneakers. They're going where that, they're doing the Labubu thing. So, they're going wherever the money is, and those channels have dried up as well, because they don't have stuff that is interesting or intriguing anymore, because they're going after certain things, and they just don't have the inventory that they used to have. So that's another thing that I'm seeing, right? Like the resellers and just like the negotiating, the deals, they're not there. Facebook Marketplace, we could talk about that too. Facebook Marketplace is, at least near me, is filled with a bunch of delusional people. People selling original Game Boys for $200. People selling, Game Boy Advance with like, Nintendogs for like $180. It's just madness. And the same thing is happening at thrift stores and pawn shops. The thrift stores near me have just lost their minds completely. They're selling Game Gears in thrift stores for $250. I mean, Nintendo DS lights for $189. Like, I'm floored. Like, I'm absolutely befuddled. I'm baffled at where they're grabbing these prices and how they're pricing these things, because this is we're talking leaps and bounds beyond what price charting is asking for these items. And so it's just, I think, in certain ways, greed has definitely taken over certain avenues for retro game hunting, and it's horrible. it's a horrible experience. It's not even worth it. It really just is not even worth the wasting the time to go and explore and see what's out there, because it's just the level of delusion is just crazy to me. And so when you combine all those things on top of the fact that most yard sales, most people who have had their yard sales, they've gotten rid of all their Super Nintendo stuff already. If you had a yard sale in the last 5 years and you sold all your retro games, more isn't just going to miraculously grow in your attic. People, you don't have like Nintendos just growing somewhere in the corner of people's attics. It doesn't work that way. Once they sell them, they're gone. And if they sold them to a reseller, or if they, once they sell them to a reseller, it's over. It's in the reseller system, where a reseller probably sold it to another reseller, then to another reseller, and it's over. That game or console isn't going to reach an end user until God knows when, until it either goes up on Amazon.com or until it ends up on eBay and someone's willing to pay market price for it. So even the yard sales are, please keep in mind, I'm not saying that there's nothing out there. I'm not saying that you can't find anything out there. I'm saying it's dried up to the point where it's not worth the time. Now, granted, if you have a lot of time to waste, then it's really of no effect to you, right? You're going to be wasting time anyway. You might as well waste it going game hunting. But if you have other things that you could be doing, other places you could be, other things you could be getting, then it's not going to feel like a worthwhile endeavor to go and game hunt. And I think, again, this could be something that's exclusive to my area. It could just be something that I'm experiencing, but I'd be I'd be interested rather for you guys to let me know what you're experiencing in your neck of the woods, because it's just not, it's not fun. I think that's really what this is all boiling down to. It's not fun anymore. It's not. It used to be fun knowing that you had a good chance, like, to find something, right? Like, it's fun when you have a it's just like a video game. Like, video games are more fun the more you feel like you have a chance to win. No one wants to play a video game that they know they're going to lose. No one's going to play that game because you're gonna like, man, I'm going to lose if I play this game, unless you're just a professional gamer and you just love a really intense challenge. But people want to feel like they have a chance to win. And I don't know if video game hunters today feel like they can win when they go out game hunting. A lot of them feel like they can't win today in 2025. Video game hunters do not feel like they can win regardless of where they're going. If they're going to a yard sale, mom and pop shop, thrift store, GameStop, online, offline, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari, eBay, you name it, they feel like before they can even get a chance to blink or click or tap or scroll, there's like some ninja reseller that's going to snipe the deal right out from under them, because those guys are doing that to pay their bills and feed their families. And I think when the hobby becomes that challenging for a lot of people, it's just not fun. And I don't want to say that like all the fun is out of it for me personally, because I still find joy. Listen, when I find a good game, I'm gonna pick it up. I can't even remember the last game that I picked up, to be quite honest with you. I don't. It's crazy. It's August 3rd, and I don't think I've gotten a game so far this month, which is kind of wild. Like, normally I'm at least within the first 3 days of a month I've picked up something. I haven't picked up anything yet this month, and it's Sunday, and we're going back into another work week, and I doubt I'm gonna have another chance to get out and game hunt. And unless I spot something online, it means I'll probably go another week without picking anything up. And so, just the idea, even today, it's a really beautiful day. It's a nice day. I could have went out and done some game hunting, but I decided to spend the morning with family. Went into the city. Played some Monopoly with the family. We'll probably go back to the park today. We went to the park yesterday, and it's like, when I think, okay, I could take these next 3 hours and go game hunting and likely not find anything, or I could take these next 3 hours and just spend this time with my family. The family proposition just seems better and better every day, or just doing something else. And so, again, I'm not saying that it's over, but just the hunt it's tough. It's tough. And I hate to seem like a downer, right? Because I'm still very much an avid believer and lover of retro, but it's getting hard. So you guys let me know. Is this just a me thing? Is this just like a New York thing? Is it like a NYC thing? Is it a Manhattan thing? Or are you seeing the same things in Southern California? Are you seeing the same things in Mississippi and Houston, Texas, and Boston, Massachusetts? Are you seeing the same things in New Hampshire? Are you seeing the same things in, Milwaukee, Chicago, Indiana? I mean, wherever you're from, put it down there and let me know. What are you seeing? What are you experiencing? The one place that I didn't really talk about was the flea market, and that's just because I don't go to flea markets. We don't have flea markets here, like where I'm at. I mean, and if the nearest flea market that's worth going to is about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes away, I'm not doing that. Like, bro, are you crazy? I'm not wasting that time driving no hour and a half to no flea market, man. Get out of here. Like, that's crazy. I can't even think about doing that right now. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What are you seeing near you? Are you still finding good stuff? Is it still fun? I'm interested to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments. That does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.